One of the most OP towers in Bloons TD6, the Rubber to Gold Alchemist, just got a reality check because in the last update, that thing was probably one of the most OP towers that have ever existed, at least when it comes to making money. So in case you guys don't know, let me just get everyone up to speed. The previous version, in version 48, the Rubber to Gold Alchemist was OP for two reasons. Number one, it started attack, they kind of buffed it actually, and they made him attack every 2 seconds, but the cash multiplier on his golden potion, which is the thing that makes money, was kept at x3. That basically meant that he was coating every single bloon in gold, he was not able to miss, and the bloons that he coated were making you a lot of money, and they quickly realized that it was a huge mistake to do that. So instead of reverting back the attack speed, what they did is they reduced the cash multiplier from x3 to x2. Now that by itself is actually a huge change, and so what I want to do today is I want to try, and I guess you could call it income maxing. We're going to be testing the new Rubber to Gold, and the goal is going to be to try and make as much money as possible up to round 80. Actually, the Rubber to Gold kind of, I think, loses its effectiveness, I would say honestly past the 60s, because at that point you can just buy a million farms. It's not a bad idea having it, it's just like diminishing returns, right? But we're going to keep it on the field, we're going to combine it with the balloon trap, which actually keeps the multiplier on the income as well, and the number to beat is going to be about 100,000, because up to round 80, that is how much cash you generate by just not doing anything, just by popping balloons, right? I was actually going to do this for myself, but I wanted to make a video off it as well, so let's go through it together and then let's get a kind of a sense of how much money you can make up to round 80, and I guess this is going to be useful for all of us for boss events actually. So what I'm doing so far is pretty standard, I want to say. So this kind of village starting with the NG, let's actually go like this, get the bigger radius, and I'm going to get a couple of upgrades on the NG just so we can survive these early rounds. If you take a look at the numbers on the attacks with the old Rubber to Gold Alchemist, it used to attack every 5 seconds, and if you just let it attack for a minute, that means, well, 12 attacks per minute. The new one with the 2-second attack time on the golden potion is dishing out 30 potions per minute. That is insane. And so even though the multiplier got reduced, I'm starting to wonder whether this is like that significant of a nerf as, you know, you might think that it is. I do have the money for the Alchemist, but here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna buy the base Alchemist, and I'm gonna set this kind of strong, but I'm gonna go for the 0-1-3 on the NG actually. So we're gonna start these off with the balloon trap, and I'm actually gonna set it here on the other side. So I don't want the NG attacking as much. I just want, you know, as many balloons as possible going to the trap, and then the trap income gets multiplied by the Rubber to Gold Alchemist. So let's go like, let's actually buy the lead to gold. This is not gonna be a bad idea. So I actually don't want to have any balloons get popped normally if possible. We want to have the majority of these balloons just enter the trap, and then when we collect the trap, that's how we essentially want to be popping the balloons in the first place. I'm actually going to go for something like this. This is a very important thing, by the way, which I'm not doing if you guys are watching my boss events. I'm usually not buying something like a 0-1-2 glue, but this is a very important thing to do, so you slow everyone down and you set everyone up for the trap basically. Alright, and we finally got the money for the Rubber to Gold. I bought this thing, and we are gonna leak basically the entirety of 33 because we have no camo detection, but we're gonna buy it in a second. After that, we're only gonna have one single goal, and that is just keeping all these balloons in place and then them walking into the trap so we can make as much money as possible. So let's get a camo village. Actually, you guys know what? One camo village is not gonna cover all of these guys. We're gonna need to buy 2. Yeah, that's completely fine because we're gonna buy it under a discount. So here goes the first village. I want to get the village for the trap as well, and I mean, look at what's happening. I mean, the money's going well. We collected a couple of times from the trap. It's 2.5k, but you guys probably know by now that this indicator is not exactly correct because it doesn't take into account the golden balloons that walk into the trap. Alright, and now take a look at how much money we're making. By the way, I really love this lead to gold potion, which doesn't make much sense buying for the leads on 28 and 30. It's gonna one-shot them, but I don't think it makes sense buying it. But after that, 37, 38, I mean, look at what's happening with all these lead balloons. So we bought basically every tower that we have. Is like, it's not a defensive tower. It's, well, I guess the trap is a little bit, but basically these are all farming towers, and we still have a lot of money. So let me complete the setup by buying the glue splatter and the Moab glue, and I think I'm gonna leave everyone just like this, with the next goal being buying the tier 5 trap, because this thing increases the multiplier on the income, goes from x2 to x3, so that's gonna be really important. It's also gonna be able to suck in Moab glass balloons, which is something that we're gonna need because look at our Moab damage. I'm not even sure if we're popping this guy actually. You guys know what? I'm gonna use Benji's level 3 ability just so we get some extra damage going. Oh my god, we're not even popping a single Moab. Yep, we're gonna need the big trap basically before the 50s. There we go, we barely pop it. Alright, so let the cash generation continue. Look at this guy's golden potion. Basically almost everything that walks in is being coated in gold, which is exactly how you want to see it. Now, I usually don't buy 2 rubber to golds, and especially with this new attack speed, I don't think it's necessary to, but previously when the attack speed was 5 seconds in the gold potion, I'd seen a lot of people do that actually, and I think it was worth it. Alright, so how's the cash doing? These are the most important balloons, by the way. We want to be sucking in ceramic balloons. We want to have ceramics walk into a trap. That's pretty much the most important balloons, because what happens is that the alchemist attack cannot break the ceramic layer by itself, and what it means is that the full ceramic basically walks into the trap and you're getting the full cash, which for example, if you take a look at with these zebras, it attacks the zebras, it breaks them into black balloons and white balloons, and then it's those balloons that walk into the trap, and you're basically not getting the full income from the gold potion. Alright, so more ceramics are 47. All these guys are gonna walk in. 1.4k collected. I think it's actually a little bit more than that. Let me just check the NG. 14k so far. It's a lot more than that. That's not correct. The amount of money that we have is 32,000, guys. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. Like, we're trying to beat 100k, about 100. I think it's 94,000 actually by round 80. Oh my god, we're gonna make so much money actually. I really do want to get the big trap though before the 50s, because once we start sucking in these mob class balloons, we're getting the multiplier on them as well. And the rubber to gold potion actually does work on mob class balloons. It's round 49, and this is it, guys. 40k. We are 100% gonna make the cash. Actually, there's gonna be so many ceramics in this round. Usually you want to have this guy set on strong, and how are we doing? Are we coding everyone? I mean, you know what, the trap actually cannot handle all these guys, so let's collect from this trap as soon as possible, and then as soon as we collect, we're gonna be able to, yes, there we go, I was spamming the button, so buy the big trap finally. Alright, so now the actual farming starts. Rounds 50 to 80. We have $2,000. The farming setup is online. The NG starting with like 18.7.8k, I guess. Let's see how much money this is gonna end up making, as this is the most important part. I'm watching this setup, and there's a small thing that I don't exactly like. Well, I don't like 2 things. Number 1 is Benji's Trojan, because I'm not exactly sure how it works with these mob class balloons, because a Trojan balloon does not summon any small balloons, right? But if a Trojan balloon walks into the trap, does it still work like that? I'm not exactly sure. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sell Benji, and I'm gonna have him behind the tree, and if his line of sight is obstructed, he doesn't throw the Trojan, so I'm gonna have him like this. Then another thing that's bothering me a little bit, it's the fact that this glue is a little bit far from the track. It actually can attack from a little bit farther away, so I'm gonna give him the primary mentoring for a little bit of extra range, and then maybe an alchemist here on the side that's only gonna be able to buff the glue. Is this a little bit too much? No, actually, you know what, we're gonna do this. Nope, I know exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna get the Desperado, the Deadeye. Yes, we're gonna give him the Desperado ability, and it's gonna give him a lot of extra range, so he starts attacking earlier basically. And I know that we could buy the Banner. Don't worry, guys, I've actually done this. I've actually, you know, income maxed before when the Desperado got released, so I was really anxious to try how good the Bounty Hunter is with all these guys, and it turns out it's actually really good, because the marking ability, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, basically you can mark balloons with the Bounty Hunter ability, and all those marked balloons give extra cash. Now, the problem with the marking ability is that you basically need to time the mark so that the Desperado doesn't exactly pop the balloons, but you want to have the balloons walk into the trap before he pops them, and that's what makes, you know, Desperado farming good, but a little bit obnoxious. So that's why I'm not exactly doing it. And I'm just kind of thinking, you know, if we were to play a boss event, like I would definitely not be bothering, you know, min-maxing a Desperado ability. I would just probably do this, which is super easy, and it kind of works by itself, right? This is a self-sustaining setup. Alright, so the BFB is incoming. This is round 60 so far. Let me just click the NG, get the ability, by the way, going. Let me just click the NG. It's 44, and we just collected. So it's like 51k that it says that we've made, but we're making a lot more than that. That's really insane, because if Ninja Q wanted to, they can actually do like a full boss event without making us farm like crazy. And you know what? It would probably be possible to pull it off, because all these other, like, these side farming methods throughout the years, they've gotten so good that they just make a lot of money by themselves. So it's round 65, and we're currently sitting at 94k, and this is the amount of money that you make up to round 80 without popping anything. Keep in mind, we bought some very expensive towers, like the, well, I guess this is very expensive, the tier 5 that we bought, the big trap. So it seems like we've reached the amount of money that you would have gotten up to round 80 before round 80. It was actually around 65 with all these farming towers, and that's a very important information. Actually, you can reach it a lot earlier if you're not going for the big trap, but then again, you're kind of weak versus mob class balloons, so you're not, you know, using the money that they're making. So let's try to see how much money we're making now if the trap is full. So let's watch after all these guys go in. I think it's 5.8k that it showed, but I don't think the total amount of money went up by 5.8. I think it was a little bit more than that. So let's actually watch these BFBs. We're starting with 138,000. And how much are we actually going to collect after this BFB walks in? 138 to 144. Okay, that seems to be about it, actually. It seems to be about right. And by the way, 158,000 around 75. Is this going to get closer to 200k, or is it going to surpass 200k? What do you guys think? 165. We're going to absorb some big balloons, actually. We're going to have a huge wave of BFBs on 77. Income 76. It's not going to... Oh, it actually proc the trap. Okay, that's really good. I mean, we like procking of the track. I just mentioned if we were going to make it to 200k, and we're at like 176 like 2 rounds later. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're making it past 200k. It's just by how much. And then you guys know what we're going to do. We're going to sell all of these towers that we bought at round 80, because that's going to be like the true gauge of how much money we've made. All right, so 194, the second wave of ceramics is incoming. We collected another 6k, and that is absolutely crazy. $200,000 by round 78. It's actually a lot more than that, because obviously we bought some towers. And let me just check Benji and how he's doing. So he just got level 11, so he's making 1,000 per round, but and so far he's made like 8k, right? But keep in mind we sold Benji so that we can get some better positioning on him. So yeah, by not selling Benji, I mean, you're just getting so much more cash, because the way he works is he needs, you know, these higher levels in order to generate more cash. So far, the way that this test is going, I'm super happy. Like, this is what you can expect by not using farms basically in a boss event. And we're gonna have just the ZOMG left. And here's what we're gonna do. We are actually gonna sell every single tower and the... Wait, does the trap disappear? Oh, do I want to find out actually? I think the trap disappears if I sell the NG guys. So we're gonna keep it in place, but we've made 250k, and the trap sells for 38. So let's actually absorb this ZOMG. Let's collect the trap. I think it's gonna collect immediately. There we go. And so if we hit review map, we're gonna be sitting at 255 and then 37.8k for the sell price. So basically, I think we can round this thing up to like 300k. So yeah, I would like to see a boss event in which basically all types of farming is banned except for this, because it is absolutely possible. But that was a very fun test and a very successful one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm gonna see you on the next one.